Welcome to the High-Tech Investments News Report for Week 11. The news report covers some of the many investments projects High-Tech Investments is currently involved in so you can follow our progress. We hope you will enjoy this news feed and look forward to your comments and remarks.
Hi, Bo here, and welcome back to this week's news report. That is an extended version this time around, based on the information and details that has come out in the last week. It has been a very busy week for us and many other people in the financial sector around the world. And obviously, this has also affected some of our projects here. We have had a huge loss of about $20,000 overall on different EAs, and we're going to talk a bit more about it. And also on a personal level, the company has also lost a bit over 10,000 euros this particular week, so also on EAs. But again, we know that we are getting this back overall. This has been a huge bump on the road, but that doesn't mean that we're going to change any type of direction. We're going to go and try and explain as much to you as we possibly can, so within the time frame we have. And there will also be other videos in the future, so covering this in a bit more detail. On top of this, we will also have a couple of news from the different platforms that we already are engaged with. There is some news from some of them. And also Alex from Expert Forex has a couple of new videos out there, and they are definitely, as always, worth having a look at. So let's get started. Grab yourself a cup of coffee because it's going to be a longer one. As usual, we know that the yield notes by now here is going to deliver the quarterly percentage of 5%, and we are getting very close to that particular date. It's basically in beginning of April, 1st of April, so without the April's Fool, we certainly hope. And you still can take the money out. It will stay in the platform for now. But we also know there's other things coming here. And part of that is obviously announced in this particular video here that we also sent out, which is now about a week or two ago. And we mentioned this one in last week's news report. There is a lot of news and information in there. We've gotten some good feedback on how we try to cook and explain all the information. So cook it down to something that everybody can understand. So, and of course, as soon as there is any more news, we will send out a new update, but I believe this is the best place to go right now if you want to know exactly what's happening with yield notes and the deadlines. One of the other things we have here is the marketplace that is supposed to close on the 15th of March, and then it will re-emerge as NFTs instead by early April. We just went in here, so on the 16th, and it was still open so far, and it looked like you could still buy it. So they seem to be a bit behind or not in a hurry overall to do this. But obviously this is coming, and we had a bit more explanation on that in the video you saw right before. On top of this, we obviously also have our iHost MN, so shared masternoding, and we are not changing so this week's news report. So let's just have a look and see where SAPP and Sapphire coin is. It hasn't really moved much this particular week. If we have a look at the return on the investment overall, it is down again on the site itself. So from 59% last week to 54%. And that obviously means that we are just getting just above 2%, 2.2 for this particular week on the shared masternoding on the SAPP overall. Overall coin development is then down also. Not that the price has changed much, but obviously we only made 2% in the last week. And that has taken us down to minus 71% again. So no big change in that particular coin. And that's also why you can see the graph itself. It is pretty much flat. It has shown slight increments, so in the positive direction upwards. But way too early still to see. We do think that there will be some motion once we see the NFTs and if people take this in a positive manner. Going to PNY, also here we are getting very close to the 1000%, as you can see, but it obviously doesn't help when we are still in minus. But it's definitely a huge help once the price starts to move again, which we certainly hope so. Also here on the iHost MN website, you can see the return on the investment for PNY. It was 59% last week, now it's down to 56%, so we lost a couple of percentage again this week. Shared masternoding, we do about 10% for the week, which is quite normal, so nothing much has changed there, and we should be able to see the 1000%, so overall. What we would like to see, of course, is the overall coin development. It has improved slightly, a couple of percent for this particular week, but the PNY is still very much flat as a pancake, and there is no real difference in here other than the euro, which we are pairing this one up against. That's where you see most of the fluctuation coming from. Birake, we saw last week that was in the positive after a long time in minus, and we are still in positive, but not by very much. Also here we can see return on the investment for the entire year. 164% was last week. We're now down 6%, so 158, but it's still okay. We are doing quite well, and overall we are looking at about 8% for the particular week on Birake. And that is quite good. We are now at 200%, so basically double up what we started off with, and that is great news. All helps, of course, with the coin development. And as we said last week, we were at 19% plus. Now we are pretty much back at 0, but it does have a reasonable development. And as you can see, it hit the bottom a couple of weeks ago, and since then it has been going up and down. Right now it's in a retracement, so it's on the negative side again. Let's hope it can move upwards. Move upwards is definitely something that Bitcoin has done in the last week. So we left it at 21,600 or thereabouts last week. Since then, it's been skyrocketing up to 26,000. We haven't seen that in a very, very long time. And since then, it's now moving sideways, just around the 25,000 mark. So good positive news. It has certainly not affected Bitcoin, what has happened in the financial world. So that is great to see. If any, it has benefited it, where people have basically moved some of the money over there instead. And that is obviously good. Elevate Pass and our CEO that we promised you're going to have some more information on. Unfortunately, we don't have that, which also means that we don't have any new information on when any profits is going to be made out. We did mention that this is still going to take some time. We don't think it's imminent. So it could take 6 months, it could take 8 or 12 months, similar to what we have seen with yield notes. But we don't have anything concrete. We are still pushing for an interview and for an update, so with the CEO. And in particular, what we understand here was the CoinFriend portal that's going to come some new things into, where you can still use part of the money that is in there at the moment to go and advertise this. And that's pretty much what we can say at the moment when it comes to Elevate Pass. Last week, we also sent this particular video out here regarding the Trillant CEO delivering a shocking announcement. And it was definitely amateur night on that particular video, if you ask me. And since then, things has moved a bit in the right direction, but it's good to have a look at the video here once again to see exactly where Trillant is going, what they want to do, and what is to come. So that will be in the description below as usual. Now, a couple of the things has just come out from the newsletter, and this is actually the first raffle winner over from US that won the BMW Z4. He finally received this one. There were some issues of getting this through the works, but this has been bought with the Trillant. So that is excellent news. Things are slowly but surely starting to work and starting to happen. On top of this, we also mentioned in the video you saw before that the shop partner payout has now started successfully. Again, it came off to a bit of a wobbly start, and it started off with a couple of hundred at a time and then another 100 and so on and so on. It looks like that is now moving forward, which is also great to see. So some positive news coming out of the platform. And also we mentioned the raffle that no longer would be individual cars, but it would be different high-end electronic items instead, such as iPhones, ordinary phones, laptops, iPads, things like this. And it looks like that is going that way instead, where basically they are going to be taken out randomly. So from what we understand is that everybody is in this particular raffle, and we are not exactly sure how many is going to get gifts, but we hope that we will have some news in the next couple of weeks, and we expect that some of the winners will be announced by April. So we'll have to see, but nothing is really confirmed from what we read out of the newsletter. Last but not least, also CoinStore was in Dubai, and they were actually also here promoting Trillant, so basically the tree and hopefully also the Trill that is coming, the stable coin itself. So that is good news. If people outside the platform itself is also starting to promote us, that definitely helps. Don't forget that all this comes behind, and with the raffles and things like this is simply just extra garnish on top. All of this still comes down to the staking of the 3 packs, and as you can see, again, you can get short-term and long-term. Short-term is the 4, 9, and 26 weeks, and over those weeks you will get either 1.5%, 3.5, or 11, and they will be paid out in the stablecoin instead, the Trill, which hopefully will be released. We know now that most probably will be released in second quarter. And obviously the last one is the 52, which is the long-term one, where you're getting also the most gains, 50%. And again, here, it also depends on the price, where you're able to stake at a higher coin price, should it go up. So let's have a look at the coin price and see where it is at the moment. And pretty much stable from last week. Again, the circle is where we left it last time, so there was a huge sell-off. But the price still came back up, as you can see here on the candle itself. So we are pretty much trading slightly positive. And then in the last couple of days, we've been going sideways. The 188 million is basically not the high peak that you see here, because we mentioned that already last week. But that is the other red peaks that you see in here. So there are still more sells than there is buys. And obviously, we want to make sure that that changes fairly soon. CoinStore also here has a similar one. There's a small difference in price at the moment, maybe not so big as what we just showed here, because remember, we are taking a picture, and that picture might be just off by a few minutes, and that can be enough to obviously change it overall. We can see that, again, sale on CoinStore here a few days ago, it's 385 million. So again, a lot of sales going on, and then people are buying it up, but obviously not enough. So overall, we can say that it has dropped a bit, not so much, and since then it's been trading sideways. What has not gone sideways is our Solar Kingdom. That continues to do fairly okay. We haven't put any new money in it, which is why the fresh value stays the same here. But the reactor value has gone up. So basically what we have made since last week is now 0.61 BNB. Allowance comes again from the fresh value. So since we didn't change anything there, that will also stay the same. And we haven't harvested anything yet, because at the moment we know that the developers here for Solar Kingdom, they are trying to push things ahead again. And we are currently looking at the total value locked, the TVL in here, so to see if that is going to go up and down, and then might be going in and investing a bit more to make sure that we can take also 3 times more out. So it's a good deal, but we want to see that the developers can actually handle it. They continue to struggle, and that annoys us a bit, because we know that they have some really good insights to all this. And then still, the people that come on board, they leave very quickly again, and the platform is not really taking off as we hoped and expected. What has taken off is BNB versus the US dollar. And also here, it has basically taken the path from Bitcoin. You can see that in the red circle where we left it last time. So just around the $290 mark. And since then, it has now gone up to a nice high, 322. So it looks very good at the moment. You can see there's also a lot more volatility in the last many days since the 13th of the month here. So that is obviously good news, and also good for the price itself. Now, we mentioned here in the beginning, that a lot of things has happened, and especially on the trading and on the EA. And definitely this last week, since we left you with last week's news report, has been a Forex roller coaster, and also influencing a lot of stocks. So we took a bit of a hit on some of the robots, but on other ones, and actually most of them, is doing extremely well. And as you know, the profit retriever, it likes a volatile environment. What it doesn't like is if things only go up or down, so basically trending without any type of retracement. So let's have a look and see exactly what has happened on all this. And if you don't know this bank, so the Silicon Valley Bank, It is basically, or it's not a local bank, but it's the 16th largest bank in the United States, and they are very much involved in the high-tech sector. And all of a sudden, last week, there was a run on the bank. Everybody wanted their money out because the stock has been falling for a long period of time. And also there was a problem with liquidity, or at least that's what a lot of people thought. And when everybody wants money out at the same time, that was definitely more than the bank could take. And from there on, we have seen some avalanches go, and even over to Europe, where also Credit Suisse earlier this week has dropped on their shares an incredible 30% in just a couple of days, as the Saudi backers basically ruled out that they were going to assist them. But already here today, when we are shooting the news report, which is Thursday, we can see that a lot of the banks are up again. Credit Suisse is back up by some 20% from the low they had before. So there is still a long way to go, obviously. But I think the first shock has mended itself, but we will see a lot of questions from other banks also here. Everybody in Europe seems to think that their banks are pretty safe, and let's hope so, because it obviously has a huge influence on the market, the stocks, and everything else. It didn't have a big influence on last week, and you have to remember this is for week 10 on the money tree itself. Again, we had an open trade, and basically it was at zero on both the Place broker and IG broker here. But since then, it basically became a bit more exciting, and you can go on our website and find these two FX Blue links in here to see exactly what happened. You can go and dissect it. But I will, of course, show you here that the Place broker, we crashed and burned quite a bit. And if you remember some of the settings, if you've seen my other videos here, we have a setting called 30, which is basically 30% of whatever equity we have within the account. And it was started trading with 10,000. And we took a hit here of 3,000 and almost 200. In that particular one, we had 5 open trades, which is the max we have. They all went against us. And a similar thing happened on the IG broker. Also here again, same settings that we have on the Place broker. So at around 30%. And things move very quickly. That's why you see it's slightly over 3,168 for the IG broker. So not a full crash and burn. Obviously, yes, we lost about 30% of it. They are still trading, and they have done 1 or 2 trades since then. But unfortunately here, again, they are only trading about $20 at a time. So it's going to take a very long time to recover some of this. History, as you can see, is about 52 days. So the first couple of months has not really been very profitable for us overall, and we'll just have to wait and see. We will do a video on this particular case also on what has happened. We also did a video here this week, and that was pretty much launched at the same time as everything happened. So I guess it was perfect timing, even though most probably it would have been nice to have sent this out a couple of weeks before, so everybody would know. But this was basically because the Profit Retriever comes up to its 1-year birthday, and we wanted to show you what we have learned, all the hard lessons we had. We had some account crash and burn, actually not that many overall, but obviously every single one we have to learn from them, and we put that in this particular video here. It seems to have been very popular, and a lot of people seems to take a lot from it. So if you haven't seen it, by all means go and have a look. It's good for both the copy-link traders and the ones that wants to trade the robot themselves. So let's have a look at the entire portfolio and see what exactly has happened. So these are the numbers from last week's news report. We can see the balance at 428,000. We can see the closed profit at 198. Equity of 404,000. You won't see that on the next one. The FX Blue seems to be funny like that, and basically dropped it, most probably because one of the accounts crashed, and then it basically doesn't show it anymore. We try to get this back online, but maybe a bit later we'll figure out how exactly to do this. The profit, so for March, you can see is up by 5,877. And the entire history for this portfolio is 357 days. So we are getting very, very close to 1 year with the Profit Retriever. Overall, you can see there are some good double-digit numbers, 12%, 11.9 monthly returns. So trade wins 68%. So all in all, it's a really good robot. Now what happened here is, apart from the 2 times 3,000 we had on the money tree, we had issues particularly with the 2 accounts. There was a couple of other ones that has gone into heavy drawdown, but the Aussie 200 index here basically crashed and burned. It's a newer account, and we went from 10 up to, I believe it's 11 or 12,000, and everything was lost in that particular account. On top of that, we also had one other currency, and we incurred a margin call. We're going to show you that one also in a minute. But you can see now the balance is 419,000, so it dropped. Also closed profit 189,000. Now the interesting part here, of course, is now when you look at the overall profit for March, it no longer reflects a huge minus. We have already made up quite a bit of it. Obviously, you saw we made more than 5,000 from the week before. And then we lost about these 14,000, and we have already made up quite a lot of that, both before and after here. And we continue to do extremely well, and that's exactly why you have to trade the profit retriever in a portfolio. So that is the way to go by it, and this particular case with everything that had happened this week just emphasizes this once more. Now I want to show you the Aussie 200 index, exactly what has happened. So it has been on the decline, and this is something that the profit retriever can easily do. As we say, as long as there is retracements, it's not really a big problem for this. This has gone quite well, and you can see that is filled basically with trades. And all of a sudden here we just have the huge drop. And funny enough, the drop is a lot bigger on the Aussie 200 index than it was on many of the other indexes here, which are still doing fine. For example, the US 30 index, we're still trading that one. They're both very profitable. But this was simply enough to cash us out very, very quickly. Big surprise to us, especially when we looked at all the numbers. But obviously, we will have to see if we can introduce this one again under better circumstances. Some of these things, they are recovering a bit, but they will be very volatile for the next couple of weeks and maybe even months. Now, the second one here is the Canadian Swiss francs. And again, that has something to do with the banking industry, as you saw. Again, a lot of up and downs in that particular currency here. Which is cashing in on every single time, even though it goes in the wrong direction. We can see a couple of big drawdowns over here, which is funny enough in the sell mode, exactly where we wanted to be when things crashed on the red arrow, as you can see. And it just had a huge drop. And in order to understand how big and how huge that is, we can go back to 2020 in March, where we had the COVID, and we actually dropped lower this time around than when the COVID news came out. There's only one time that we can find on our broker data here where we are lower than what we have seen here, and that is back in 2014. So that is a huge drop in a very short period of time, and there's no way that any of the traders here has got a chance of trying to build that into the robot. If we did, the gap size would simply be so huge that you wouldn't make any money out of it other than maybe 1 or 2% per month. And it's better that obviously we try and make a bit of money and then cash in on it. It would have worked, obviously not in this particular case, but this is not over yet. So we did get a margin call. The account still has about $6,000 in it. The price is going up again, as you see, and we have actually highlighted this. So because obviously the people that are in on our copy link service here want to tell them also that this is definitely not over yet. If you look at the bar itself, it has closed some of the initial lot sizings that was set up with the EA, with the robot itself. And when we look at it, it needs to go back up to there in order to get the count back up into the 10, 11, whatever it was before. And we do believe that that will happen. Just give it a couple of days, a week. We will still have this one open, and we believe that we can close this one back in positive, get the accounts way back up where they need to be. So because you have to understand that exactly it has never been so low before. And if you look at a bigger graph, It is even below the middle, this section we have marked up here. So there's a very good chance that this will cash in, and you can basically come out of this with no loss at all at the end of the day, and then it starts trading again. So there's definitely still good possibilities for this particular EA. Now we also went on Expert Forex homepage again and have a look at the links, and we can see quite a few of both the top and the bottom links here. So having huge drawdowns at the moment based on what is happening here. We don't know how many has crashed and burned. As you said, we only had one, and the last one that we had that crashed and burned is about 4 months ago, which is not bad. That we have been trading more than 20 EAs, 23 I believe we're at the moment, and still we only crash one every 4th month. That is definitely better. We normally calculate with one every 3 months, so that is still within reason. So that means that our settings are still robust, and a lot of the other EAs has been excellent in this volatile environment. As you could see, it has almost made up the loss already. Coming out of March, we still believe that we're going to have a profit. Yes, we're not going to make 20 or 30,000 this month, that's for sure, but we're going to come out of it. So smelling like roses. So even though the roses might only be at $5,000, but we'll take that definitely, and then we'll learn from it from there. Now we also did a video again, a video strategy here a couple of weeks ago on Sapphire guides, how we set up the winning strategies. And obviously this month we also wanted to show you exactly, because we need to find some positive things in everything that goes on. And we can actually see that 2 of the files that we send out, this is link 52C, it trades the British pounds AUD. And you can see this is a very old one also, 353 days signal. So this has been one of the first ones that came in. You can see the profits that has been made over time. And since then it dropped off here in January and February. We made some adjustments with it, and that's what that video is all about. And you can see for March we are already up $635, and we are only halfway through this particular month, so it looks very good. It looks like it's on schedule again. You can also see on the graph that it ticks in very nicely. It's got the right direction again. And the second one we also have here in the same video where we made some adjustments, and you can actually go and find all those settings if you look into the video, is a link 56C, Euro New Zealand. And it was doing quite well, as you can see, also making profits every single month. But we believed that it was underperforming. And when I say underperforming, you can have a look at the monthly return. It's 7.5%. So we might be a bit naughty saying that, because you can't even get that from your bank. So in a year, the history on this particular one is 214 days. And the profit we have made so far in just half a month is basically the same as we had in February. You can see that the direction of the arrow of the graph itself is going up now again. And we have made $1,049 on this. And it keeps on tracking very well. So there's plenty of positive news. Overall, about more than 90% of all our EAs is doing extremely well. Some are in drawdown at the moment, but as the markets recover, it's going to cash in again. And we have seen a lot of them do that already. Now, of course, we also have the profit retriever for the week 10. And again here, the Aussie 200, this is the one that just crashed. You could see this was the high jumper from last week, $712, 7.1%. And then after that, it just does that. Yeah, it's pretty unfair. But again, we cannot look ahead. We can only look back. And that is obviously always the problem with robot trading. Now, on top of this, you can see the Euro New Zealand, which is the one I just showed you that we have made some changes on, $605 or 6%. We also have silver is coming back. So silver was in a drawdown for a while, is now doing extremely well, 5.9%. US CAT, 5.1%. And then you have the second one that we also made adjustments to here, so which was underperforming. British pounds AUD made it in 4.6% or $427. Overall, those couple of weeks back here, was not so high as we normally see it, because the volatility was a bit on the slow side, but we made $2,849 for the top 5, or 5.7%. So it is definitely approved. Obviously, we're just a bit sad about our Aussie 200 index, but it might come back later on, so in the year, when we know that we have cracked it and we can see our way out of a drop like that before. Now, if you want to know more, if you want to find all our videos, we have them on our website, and you can go to our YouTube channel, of course, also. The appropriate retriever, so the darker blue one robot here, is everything you need to know about if you want to trade it yourself. Otherwise, if you think this is way too complicated and you rather want to go over to the CopyLink trading, where we can trade for you, and obviously that is also an option. And you will find Expert Forex links in here that will tell you a bit more about it. You will also find Expert Forex videos in there. So there's plenty of supporting documents for you. Now, Alex has sent out a couple of videos this week. So he was back on track after a couple of weeks where things were going a bit slow. And he's just giving a bit of a video on how to find great trading signals to copy. And also there's still a trial you can do for about 2 weeks. You can join in on that particular one. Second one that was just released here is the receiver robot upgrade. This is not a mandatory one. You can continue with what you have, but definitely there's a couple of new features in there that we suggest that you update maybe on the weekend. So that would be the best time to normally do these things. And at this particular point here also, I wanted to say that everybody who is in on the linking service to success, so this might be the option where you can turn down your robots also, because obviously we don't know exactly how the market is going to behave in the next days and weeks to come here. So a very easy thing you can do with the CopyLink service, which is not so easy for the ones that are setting up the robots, is you can take the factor into case instead of 1-to-1, so you're trading exactly the same as us. You can actually take that down to 0.5, basically reduce your risk by 50%. It might be a clever move at the moment until we see exactly what's going to come out. And that will also make sure that even though that we crash an account, as you saw here with the Aussie 200 index, you won't, because you simply have a lower lot size. And then when the price turns around, you are quite fine. You're still good. You can still make a profit, and obviously then find another signal after that. So this is definitely one of the things that you might want to have a closer look at the moment. So because we can't really tell what is to come in the next weeks. And that's what we had for you in this week's news report. I do appreciate your time. We took a lot longer here to go through everything that has happened this week. It has been a very, very busy week, and I'm sure the next couple of weeks will be similar until the markets slow down again and we get a better idea of where all the financial sectors are. So make sure that you watch the videos we showed you in here, so to keep up to date on all the platforms and the EAs themselves that we run with. And I hope to see you on one of my new videos. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed our news report. So please don't forget to like and add your comment below, as we would love to get your feedback. But before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to keep the notification bell turned on. That way you will never miss any of our future videos. We hope to see you back on this channel very soon.